Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let me see, make sure everything's working well. All right, guys. Welcome, everybody. Just so you guys know, we are streaming both vertically and horizontally. Okay, both. hmm we're doing both, guys. We are doing both. So hopefully, if you guys are like, well, which one? Where do I go? I think I should take you to one place, regardless. But I do kind of wonder now. So YouTube is doing this thing along with StreamYard, where it allows some of you guys to be on either vertical or horizontal. If you don't like vertical, which I know a lot of my people don't, so just make sure you go on to the other stream, but we're live on both. It says it's giving us a heart attack. You go stay there. Okay. You see me? Oh, bro, you better see me. I see two of me. It's kind of freaking me out. I know Chico was like, Rabbit, I'm getting what's going on? Did you schedule two? No, I didn't, y'all. So the vertical is gonna have a phone next to the title, okay? The horizontal is just gonna be regular. So keep that in mind. I'm freaking my mods out, y'all. I'm sorry. But let me make sure because you guys know we get trolled a lot. So I just want to make sure that we're all set for that. Shout out to y'all. Okay. All right. I'm looking to see how this looks in the back end. So the new experiment that's happening. See, I see some of you guys have a phone on your name. So I know some of you guys are on the vertical, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that that's the case, if you know what I mean. I'm glad. You said, "Oh no, I can do shorts." You can do shorts. That's good. You said, "Why can't we send gifts on this side?" I don't know. I don't know. See, Flojo became a member, and it shows that Flojo became a member both on the vertical and on the horizontal. Thank you, Flojo. By the way, I saw somebody. Hold on. What did this person say? Hold up. Jessica says, "Shout out to Fat Joe. I mean Flojo." For the new channel. He has some good stuff. All right. Shout out to Flojo. I'm gonna have to check it out. Send me a link next time, okay? So I can review it. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Okay, everybody, come through, come through. In vertical, you allow to send gifts like they do on TikTok. I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I have a sign that says new person in training on my shirt right now, so I have no idea. They're trying to fix it. I think they're still trying to fix it. All right. Just for the record, I do not like this right now. We doing both. Hold up. Now, why did my comments disappear? Here we go. Piel Morena says Alexa made a Drake. Well, shout out to Piel Morena, who's been a member for 13 months. Alexa made a Drake Bell videos. Can you talk about it? Um, I did see, like, I think she made like 4 parts of that video on the Drake Bell. Put a one in the chat if you guys have watched it. Uh, can I talk about it? What do you want me to talk about specifically? Alexa Nicholas, excuse me, from the Eat Predators. You guys know everybody knows Eat Predators, I'm pretty sure, right? She is the child actor that was on Zoe 101. She has her own YouTube channel. She's been interviewed here. She's done a bunch of things. We've talked about her lawsuit. I believe she was suing a journalist by the name of Kat Tembarge. That's been going on. There's been kind of like some drama and stuff like that in that arena. Um, and she did a couple videos on Drake Bell. I did watch like 1 through 3, but I have not watched the 4th. I guess I don't know what it is that you want me to talk about in terms of that. If you're still in the chat, let me know. Alexa made a Drake Bell videos. Can you talk about it? Have y'all seen it? Let me know. Let me know if you guys have seen it. Welcome, everybody. My chat is flipping now because I'm doing both. Y'all, calm down, calm down. Again, for those that are coming through, y'all, remember, guys, you can go on the horizontal. I'm live on 2 places, horizontal or vertical. Which one do you like? Any way you like it. How do you want it? As Tupac would say, how do you need it? Like, that's what you do, horizontally or vertically. Pick your position. That's kind of where I'm at. That's what's going on. Yes, we're gonna review it tonight for sure. Hold up. Now let me shout out some people. First of all, again, thank you for being a member for 13 months. I've watched one of three. I have not watched the fourth. If you guys want me to review it, I need you guys to what's the word? Put a one in the chat. I'll think about it because I found the information compelling that she presented, but I don't know if it necessarily changes my mind about how I feel about Drake Bell. Okay. But if you want me to review it, put a one in the chat and I'll review the chat again and figure out what we're going to do. Okay. Connie, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, Connie. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay. Coco's mom. Thank you for the $10. I'll just send my gift here as I get a headache on vertical. That's what I said. It's both ways. You can do it vertically or we can do it horizontally, whichever. But you know what? I'll accept the super sticker, super chat either way. Thank you. You said Alexa Nicholas. I always call her Nichols. I think it's because of the way her name is spelled. Has been harassing. Yeah, I've seen the back and forth. It's been a lot of drama in that situation. I have some thoughts about it. There's a lawsuit, so I'm kind of like careful about the things that I say because I'm not trying to get involved in the lawsuit. I'll report on the lawsuit. I just don't want to be a part of the lawsuit. You know what I mean? Just saying. Thank you. And Chico's modding for the vertical. It said double tap. Thank you. We need to get Bruce both ways. Don't. Aduko's gonna come at you, and you're gonna get me on that voice changer. Okay. You were gifted 1 month membership. Yay. Shout out to my beautiful, wonderful community. I got beautiful gifters, man. I'm really lucky. Okay. What about upside down for a stream? Girl, what do you want me to do? That's not my position. I'm just joking. Hey, Christy B. I'm seeing some regular some supporters here. Thank you guys for being here. I'm giving the people some time to get in here. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. I see Shrinking Sharon in here. Shout out to my boo, Jay Boopsy as well. Shout out to everybody coming through. All right, we about to get started. You said I like it both ways. See, we like it both ways. That's right. Y'all too dirty in my chat. See, and this is a serious true crime channel. Don't get dirty in my chat, okay? I will not allow it. I will not allow it. Upside down, inside out. That's right. All right, moving on. Shout out to everybody that on the replay game because they get mad at me because they're like, you take too long. I get it. Let's talk about a situation real quick, okay? Real quick. Ooh, I don't know if I like this vertical view, but that's okay. Dorothy People has been a member for 27 months. Thank you, love. Oh my goodness. Shout out to you, Dorothy People. Thank you for being here. Thank you, love. Shout out to you guys. All right, hold up. Let me make sure I position myself correctly here. Here we go. So this little situationship is kind of very young girl goes on a Carnival cruise. Now I will say that is on my bucket list. I do want to go on a Carnival cruise one of these things. It's on my bucket list, okay? It is. Um it's on my bucket list to be on a Carnival. I don't know. But I'm always kind of worried about Carnival cruises because listen, you guys, I say, you know, what is it? Those marine laws, there's certain things, people get murdered out there, you know, things happen, things go down, and you just don't know what to expect, right? And some laws do not apply, okay? They don't. Carnivals are very dirty, right? And then the laws are crazy and whatnot. You just don't know what to expect, right? So you kind of have to keep in mind. For me, it is on my bucket list. I've always wanted to take a cruise, but I don't know. You said you have anxiety over cruises? Carnival cruises are predatory because they're all for youngins. There is a really horrible, before I start here, there's a really horrible case that, you know, I talked about maybe 2 years ago. This young kid who was like fresh out of high school, had just graduated, or he was about to graduate. They went on a spring break trip and it was on a cruise. And he jumped into the water. He was drunk and he jumped into a shark infested water, like at night, somewhere in like Jamaica or something like that. Okay. So stuff happens in cruises, right? I don't know if he drank because you know, like laws are different. You can drink at different ages and whatnot. And I'll never forget when I saw that. I literally saw that footage, and I talked about it on my channel a couple years ago. And he jumped in that water, man, and nobody saw him because it was at night. Nobody saw him anymore after that. So it's a very scary thing. People got to be careful when you go on cruises. But let me just say, it's on my bucket list. I do want to do a cruise one of these days. Again, Dorothy people for being a member for 27 months. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mel, and thank you so much for the $10. New follower. Get all my updates from you. You do a great job. Thank you, Mel, and thank you. Oh, new follower. Get all my updates. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I had somebody interrupt. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Anyways, let's get into this coverage because we already a little bit late. So we have this 18-year-old, young girl. Her name is Anna Kempner, and she is a senior in high school from Florida. Okay. And oh, she apparently went on this cruise. Her family describe her as a straight A student. Okay, she was very active in athletics. She was a gymnast since the age of 2. She was planning to join the military after graduation, and she had already taken the entrance exams. She was very outspoken. She was like kind of ready to go in life, right? As you would expect any 18-year-old to do. Okay. Well, and this makes me upset just thinking about this. Her family said that she had a bright and ongoing personality, and she was involved in her community. So Anna was a passenger in one of the Carnival Carnival Horizons cruise. Okay. And not Horizon. Lord have mercy. Carnival Horizon, Horizon. That's what it is. So that cruise would sail from Miami to the Caribbean voyage. And this included stops in Jamaica and kind of other places. Okay. She died during the cruise, and the ship was returned to port in Miami the morning this Saturday on, what is it, the 8th, this past Saturday. The exact cause of death and the circumstances of her death have not been publicly released yet. As of yet, the FBI is investigating the death in the ship, right? The Carnival confirmed the incident and stated that they're cooperating with authorities and the family. So, of course, you have the community that's mourning her loss, but there's still an ongoing investigation, and they don't understand what happened. Her death remains unexplained. Okay. There hasn't been any statements. It's not exactly clear what happened, what occurred, or where exactly she died. Passengers on the ship records they show basically that that people had seen her and everything, but we don't know. Like, I don't know if she died in a room. Did she die like outside? Where did she die exactly? Right? We just don't know. So there's still an ongoing investigation in the situation, something that I want to keep my eye on, because this is not the first time I've talked about a cruise ship situationship death where like either um somebody jumps, something happens, somebody's pushed over. A couple weeks ago, we talked about, not a couple, maybe a couple months ago, there was a woman who committed S in a cruise ship. She literally jumped out of the cruise ship, and they couldn't, like, I believe they recovered her body later on, but not right away. So cruise ships, like I said, it's in my bucket list to take a cruise, but I worry about, because there's things you got to worry about. But y'all let me know what you guys think in the comments. Shout out to everybody. No worries, Veronica. You can do horizontal. There's 2 options, love. This is what I was telling people. Guys, we're streaming both ways. You can do horizontal or vertical. So make sure you go back to the channel and check where we're horizontal. There's 2 ways to do this. No worries. Thank you. And thank you, Veronica, for the 99 cents. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My aunt always tells me the best ones, but she's been sick and had been quarantined can you imagine being quarantined in a cruise ship? You know what? That they're not really saying whether she was there by herself, but they're also not like, was she there with, I'm assuming she's 18, right? About to graduate. Why would she go on a cruise ship by herself? Like, what 18-year-old would go by herself? I just don't know. Are there 18-year-olds that tend to go by themselves? I don't know. Because that would be weird, in my opinion. Because the way I see it is typically when you're that young, uh, somebody, like somebody's going to accompany you or something. I see somewhere under her bed wrapped. And she was stabbed. She was stabbed. Is that what you heard? So, Carly, you're not the only person who just said that. What were her parents, right? I mean, she's 18, so I guess she can go on a cruise if she wants to. I think they have a morgue in the cruise ship. See, I didn't know all that. You would have at 18. See, I have done a lot. Because you're on vertical account, you need to go on horizontal. We're streaming on both. I've done stupid things at the age of 18, like maybe, but never a cruise ship. It never really occurred to me to get on a cruise ship or anything like that. But see, that's the first time. Hold up, let me see, because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything confirmed in this, but there are some like unconfirmed so like these sources, I can't really tell you that they're from a credible source. They always take their news from social media. There's like this one right here. This one says that she was stabbed. I don't know if that's true. I always struggle with this source right here. We don't know if that's the case. Somebody here, social media claims. They always take from social media claims that she was stabbed. So that's not confirmed, but just letting you guys know. See, and then you get all these crazy ass ads about things. But apparently she died or she was found dead. 6 nights in the Caribbean voyage from Miami. Did she die right away? When did they find her? What exactly happened? This is an 18-year-old. Look at this. Hold up. Do we have more information here? I'm looking before we move on. Hold up. This is more on local news. High school cheerleader found dead while on a Carnival cruise, family says. Did this say stabbing? No details have been revealed about her death. Nope. Hold up. No, nothing else. This is a different news source. Yeah. So we don't know, guys. We don't know. So it is a lot of speculation. I think it's fair to say. We just don't know. And we're just going to have to wait. Okay. Carnival cruise or the party cruise. Oh, man. I went to a Carnival 18 to 25. Have to be accompanied by someone else who is over 21. So Cricket, she didn't go by herself. Did she go with somebody else? Her family is the one speaking. So I do wonder if her family, maybe she went like on a, trip with friends. This is what I was telling y'all when I was reporting on a story about a kid like 2 years ago. He literally, in the middle of the night, they're in his cruise ship with a bunch of 18, 17-year-olds on this spring break. And the kid was at night drinking. What does he do? He jumps. Somebody dares him to jump in the water. And it was a shark infested water. They never saw him again. They never found him again. Okay. So to me, it's like you cannot be, I'm sorry, like age, drinking age is different over there. Who they take care of is different over there. Like you just gotta be careful. You do. Yeah, going by yourself on cruise ship would seem kind of, off. But I guess you have to be 21 if accompanied by 21 if you're going on your own. So maybe that's what it is, Cricket. But anyways, we're gonna keep up with that, situation and that case as it's developed, and things are coming about. We'll figure it out. The case is bizarre. 18 years old. Rumors that she was stabbed. Was that in a room? Was that somewhere else? We don't know. Okay. Was that Cameron Robbins? Thank you. I was like, the name sounds familiar. I remember I talked about it 2 years ago. I cover a lot of stories, guys. I tend to forget. I do. Cameron Robbins was the one that jumped, and this was like in a shark infested in the middle of the night. They were drinking, and he just jumped. Crazy. It's just. Okay, guys, we're about to start. We're going to talk about Celeste, Rivas, and David now. Again, I'm going to repeat myself one more time, and then I'm not going to repeat myself anymore. We're streaming both horizontally and vertically because YouTube is allowing people to do that now. So you can watch me from your phone or you can watch me from your TV screen, whichever way you prefer. Okay, so let's get into it. We got to get going because we are behind. So it looks like SF Investigates was, or at least Law and Crime did a piece on this situationship. I also started hearing rumblings. I think it was hiphop.com that was talking about the fact that they're talking about the fact that this is bothering me. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like this. I don't like how this is landing, at least not for me. But apparently, and this has been the common denominator in this narrative, no homicide charges. To who? To where? To what? I don't know. No homicide charges. Okay. That has been the narrative consistently. Things have changed, stories have changed, details have been, kind of put in there. We got to figure things out here. Okay. You saw that today. So I saw it in the morning from hip hop. And then I was like, oh, I don't like this. Then I was texting a couple people to let me know what's up, what's going on. Did y'all hear the same thing? And that's what I heard too. And I think that they're stalling on releasing the cause of death, the toxicology, because they're trying to figure out how are they maybe going to present this to the people. Because the people are going to feel some type of way. I could tell you that right now. Okay. I could tell you that right now. The people are going to be, they're going to feel some type of way. I know I do already. I don't like the narrative that's being put out there, period. I don't. R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Diddy are arrested for young girl, but no one for Celeste. Bernice, say it louder. You got to say this louder. And I'm sorry, y'all know I go crazy about caps, but this should be in caps. Like, I've said this before. If I have an open bottle in my car and I'm driving, immediately DUI, arrested, do a test, touch your nose, all kinds of sobriety tests, right? But you can have a body in your car, a child, and no arrest. You can have a body in the car, a child, and no arrest. This makes absolutely no sense. Thank you, Bernice, for this super chat. I really appreciate it. Yeah, they're trying to push the narrative of how big of a rug user she was. Yeah, I think so too, Carly. Girl, that's the truth, right? It just seems that that's what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if they're sitting on it. Anyways, let's get into this commentary, guys. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's go. Shout out to, I like Jesse Weber. He kind of reminds me of Brian Enton a little bit in his reporting. So shout out to Law and Crime, Jesse Weber. And y'all notice that Jesse Weber isn't like screaming or yelling, or you don't feel like you're being scolded when you're talking to Jesse Weber. I like him. Anyways, let's go.
Investigation into the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose body was found in a Tesla that was registered to the singer out in LA back in September. And there have been no arrests. No one, including David, has been named a suspect or person of interest. What is happening right now? Because the LAPD has confirmed with KTLA that its prior news release, quote, stands on its own. What does that mean? Well, if you go back to that prior news release, essentially the message being sent is there is currently no crime other than concealment of a body that may have occurred. There is no case being sent over to the LA County District Attorney's Office for potential review or potential prosecution. And
why? What is going on? Yes, he is not. Y'all notice he's very calm. He gets his point across. He doesn't have to jump out of it. He doesn't look like he needs a Xanax or something to calm his ass down. He's fine. That's why I like Jesse Weber. I really, really do. Okay. And he's not wearing any eyeshadow.
The reasons that announcement has been made was because the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined a manner or cause of Celeste's death. But should I say as of now, right? Could this change? Does that mean they have no evidence right now that someone actually killed Celeste, caused her death, that there's no homicide charges on the table right now? Was it accidental? Someone freaked out, tried to dispose or conceal her body afterwards? Or is this basically a statement they're not going to find any evidence?
That's the question. And I like that he's breaking it because I don't get this, y'all. How is it? Why is this a statement? Why is this even a conversation? Again, you have a child, a minor in the trunk of a grown ass man car. Like literally, he's a grown ass man, and this child is in his trunk. What is going on here?
Someone killed her, right? I want to get into what this means and what may be going on behind the scenes with someone who is on the ground in LA, someone who is investigating what may have happened to Celeste. I'm talking about Steve Fisher, a missing persons private investigator who is hired by the owner of the property that David was staying at in LA. Now, remember, this property was nearby where that Tesla was found. And as you may recall, the owner wants some more information about what role his house, his property, may have played in this, if any.
And I think that he has every right, shout out to the owner, like he has every right to find out. And like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that the owner hired Steve Fisher, I don't think we would have this situation. We wouldn't get the information that we have. We wouldn't even get anything at this point. I'm glad that he did. The toxicology takes months. But here's the deal, Carly. This is what was found. The people that were that had died this, around that same time, those tox reports are back. The cause of death of those reports are back. Just not hers. And I think they're holding on to it because they're trying to kind of very carefully figure out how to address this. No press conference. Nothing. We don't know jack. Okay, we don't. All right. Again, by the way, we're streaming both horizontally and vertically. You don't have to you can go horizontal if you don't like vertical. You just have to find the stream. It should be on the channel.
You may also remember, if you've been following us here on Sidebar, that we have interviewed Steve before. And when it came to what may have been found at that house, the house that David moved out of, that was searched by authorities, here's what Steve said to us in a previous episode.
But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
And Steve joins us now. Steve, good to see you again. I'm really happy to have you. I mean, you've been on the ground there. You're investigating this. Let's start here. The big news. When the LAPD confirms with KTLA that its prior news release stands on its own, does that signify to you, hey, listen, we have no evidence that Celeste Rivas Hernandez was killed, that homicide charges are not warranted here, that that's our final conclusion? Or is that saying we don't have evidence at this point?
So I think what it's saying is that they're still relying on what's going to come back from the medical examiner's office, since there's not a determination there, at least publicly. Now, are they in contact with the medical examiner? Absolutely. But listen, I don't think that's unintentional. They've been so tight-lipped. I think there has to be something to read into that.
I think so too. There has to be something to read into this. Steve Fisher also said on his X, he says it's been 2 months since the autopsy of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and nobody has been charged. Just as disturbing, the only press release issued by the LAPD suggests that the sole potential criminal culpability might be the concealment of a body. Again, this is disturbing to me. The entire reason Celeste ended up in the Tesla trunk, regardless of the matter of death, is because of the illegal predatory relationship that David was having with Celeste. Celeste is no longer here to testify, but circumstantial evidence is still evidence, and there's a mountain of it. You know what's so crazy? And somebody said it in my chat too the other day. Remember when Celeste was in that live stream? And she was joking, but it's crazy to me that it's like she was joking about a child heiress, right? A child heiress. And then she just starts laughing. Ain't that, that is crazy that she was talking about this. And yet, here we are. We that's not a crime. They can't determine whether she was, she can't speak for herself, right? How does a child A 14-year-old, because she never turned 15, how does she wind up in the trunk of a Tesla of an adult man? What happened to rotten banana peel, Sarah? Thank you. What? That teacher's been very quiet. He hasn't said anything else. I do wonder if he still has a job. I don't know. If the LAPD and the district attorney's office failed to charge these sex crimes against a minor in this case, it will be a true slap in the face to Celeste, to the community, to anybody. What does this say? That a grown man can have a relationship with a child and somehow put her in the trunk of a car. And I hate to put it this way, but if there's no evidence, what crime would there be, right? No DNA, no nothing, if anything happened to her. They couldn't determine that she was pregnant, right? They couldn't figure that out. They said, no, she's not. At least that's what they said, that she wasn't. She wasn't protected from people like David. No, she was not. And I'm sorry. And not to blame the family or anything, but you put two and two together, especially with that photo of Esmeralda, and they're out there at Caesar's Palace taking photos, and then mom puts that photo up there. It's like, and then you got David's family, and this is the touring. They were touring together. What the, or at least, how did that situation even happen? That was crazy. Some people knew. Some people knew. People that were close to Celeste. Or both of them. It's getting weird. She wasn't protected by the people, protected from people like David while she was alive. And we are at least owed her that, and we at least owe her that in death. My voice. There is ample evidence suggesting the relationship began when she was as young as 12 or even younger. People have speculated younger. She was lured out of school and allowed to live that lifestyle. Predators who exploit their fame and money to target children are an especially sick breed. Not prosecuting these sex crimes, the sex crimes that I'm confident 100% occurred by David or D4VD. In this case, would be a huge injustice. It's time to move forward with charges. Additional charges can always be added on later. Make an arrest. And is there any advocacy that's happening from the family? That's what I want to know. I am, sorry guys. Connie, thank you so much for this. I'm Connie's sister. Connie passed away a year and a half ago. And I've just taken it over her account in her true crime. Oh my God. Connie, I'm so you're Connie's sister. Karen, I'm so sorry for your loss. I didn't know she had passed away. I'm sorry for your loss, Connie. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'm really sorry. Connie has always been a visitor of my channel. My condolences to you and your family. I had no idea. I'm sorry. Yes, sorry. Y'all drop some flowers for Karen, who's Connie's sister. Please and thank you. Andressa, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you, love. Shout out to you, Andressa. Thank you for the super sticker. And Edel, thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you, Edel, for supporting the channel with the super sticker. Y'all, thank you guys for supporting. And also, thank you for the flowers for Karen. I'm really sorry, Karen, again. When SF is making these kinds of statements, right? You run the risk of a lot of things, right? You run the risk of lawsuits. You run the risk of all kinds of things. So I do have to wonder, oh, did I disappear? What is it? What else does he know that he cannot release, right? There's probably a lot that he can't release right now. Let's keep going, okay?
Again, I think the purpose of the initial release was to, get everybody possibly prepared that this isn't a homicide. And now they're saying we still don't have anything that shows that it is. But there's other, listen, a crime definitely occurred. And they even say that at least concealment of the body. But there's other crimes I hope they're investigating, such as the relationship. I understand it's a tough case to make because she's not around anymore. She can't testify, but it doesn't mean because it's hard, it shouldn't be, pursued.
I'm going to talk about what potential charges could be here in a second, but just going back to this, they have to be in contact with the LA County.
I did see this part, and I really do appreciate it that they kind of run this stuff down. They even talked about, because we don't know if she was dismembered. That's still kind of like the thing that we don't know. But if she was, that would be an additional charge at the felony level.
County medical examiner. Does that mean that right now the LA County medical examiner is like, I need more information. I don't have a conclusion yet. Last time you and I were speaking, you said it's possible that the LA County medical examiner may be releasing the cause and manner of death of Celeste soon, because you were looking at the website and it was showing that they were reviewing cases. There was a backlog and maybe Celeste is going to come up. Does it signify to you, yeah, we spoke to them. There's nothing to determine that she was killed by anyone, which could raise questions about how she died? Or is this a situation where, they again, they spoke to them. Yeah, it's possible Celeste was killed, but we're just not revealing that at this point in time.
Yeah, so the LA County Medical Examiner's Office has their own in-house investigators also. And in fact, they publicly say on the site who the investigator on the case is. So I'm sure they're working with robbery homicide. And, it may be a case that, let's say they did get a good toxicology result back, but it's not an overdose. Now it throws back into, okay, so then you got really limited options. It's either homicide or, if she took her own life. Then they really have to dig in, because if it wasn't glaringly obvious from the initial autopsy, in other words, if there's not a gunshot wound or something like that, then, they're going to have to maybe get forensic anthropologists involved that specialize in trying to make these determinations on severely decomposed bodies, which can take a while. And
all of that could take a while, but it means something when you actually have the support of the family. I haven't heard the family speak. I haven't heard them say, this is what we want. And I know we said there's a language barrier, but guys, everybody's invested in trying to bring justice to Celeste. You think you can't find somebody who speaks the language to help them navigate this? Hell, I mean, if I'm able to do it, if I'm able to speak Spanish and English and, translate, I'm just like, there's got to be, you go to your church, you find somebody in the community to help you out for this advocacy. But do they want this? That's the question.
And they might be consulting with outside pathologists to see if they got it, to get comfortable with a possible determination. But something, like you said, I've been tracking those other cases and they've come back with toxicology now. In fact, she's the only one of 6 deaths on September 8th that doesn't have a cause and manner. And so it's a little bit, it's concerning, but which way it goes is hard to tell, because they could have, needed additional testing.
Because you thought by this point we might have had a release. You thought by this point we might have more information.
If it was, I think if they got a good toxicology, let's say it came back and it was clearly an overdose of some sort, whether somebody administered that or she took it herself and it was an accident, is a different thing. The cause would be,
I mean, it's not like she didn't have access to it. If what SF had said about there being substances in the, property, or if they believe that she was there, we don't know, right? We don't know where she died. We don't even know how she died. I think it's important to, kind of note that. Let me shout out some people. Hold up 1 minute, because I don't want to get too behind. Kellner, thank you so much for this. I miss your super sticker. Thank you, love. Shout out to you. Rosa Vargas. I feel like you're Varga. Thank you so much. People are frequently convicted without a body. Circumstantial evidence, you can also convict on that. Rosa, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Shout out to you, love. Fitzla or FitzLA, my love, thank you for being a member for 9 months. And my OG mod, 32 months, streak to the like button. If you're watching us vertically, double tap. If you're watching us horizontally, hit the like button. Thank you. What is your like number? Put it in the chat. Thank you so much, my love. Pika, my ride and die, 32 months, man. Thank you. And Nebulous has gifted 5 memberships. I really appreciate the support, guys. If you guys have been gifted, put some hearts in the chat. Shout out to Granny's watching in the chat. I see you watching us vertically. Okay, I'm feeling the way I'm feeling this, but I know some people are getting a hard time, because different people, different folks and whatnot between vertical and horizontal. So hopefully it's just hopefully not a whole lot of glitches. Sylvia's in the chat. All right, let's get into this and continue going.
overdose manner would be whether it was self-administered or administered by someone else. I would think that there would have been some sort of indication by now, and that could be then initial charges could be dropped. I don't know why initial charges couldn't be dropped now, even if they have the stack on top of them, because I know that they'll probably say, well, he's cooperating. But how much, if it's been 2 months and you haven't got the answer yet, is he really cooperating? So, it means he's probably not. He's probably, the counsel's telling him not to. And what's the difference if he's Mirandized or not, now?
And to be clear about
2 months, damn, if not longer, it feels longer, right? Again, if you think about, and this is something that, because Steve was keeping track of maybe the bodies around the same time frame that had been reported that time. Even the other body, there was another body that not related to this case, but that had also been, I think, burned or found in a car in a separate towing lot. They've arrested the person that had to do with that. They've already determined what happened to that person. This was the same day that this body was found too. It was like 2 bodies in 2 different tow places. It's weird, but they've already had conclusions about what happened there. Why is it taking us so long here? Why are they sitting on this for so long? Is it possible, like I said, that they're trying to figure out how to best deliver? And again, I'm here for them to take their time if it means that they're going to come back with a homicide or something or more information, because at this point, you have a child that was found in the trunk of a car and no way to explain any of it at this point.
something, okay? If they come back and they say, listen, there's no evidence to support that Celeste was killed, right? There's no evidence to support homicide charges, manslaughter, murder, anything like that. Is that consistent with what you're seeing in your private investigation? Are you hearing or seeing something different? Would you be surprised if that's the ultimate conclusion?
I'll just be honest. We really don't know. Nobody has stepped forward, even, wanting to be anonymous off the record and said, listen, I know what happened. So it's very bizarre that there's this many people involved that have stayed this quiet for this long, especially like when they're young. And it's like they're all lawyered up, to be honest with you. And I don't know if that's because maybe he's providing counsel to all of them, but there's no legal.
What is that? Neo quiet. Where the hell is this Neo guy? What about the woman that was with this tour group? Everybody's quiet.
Coming out, and that's kind of bizarre with this many people involved, younger people that kind of want to save themselves and blowing their careers up. So it seems like there's something that they're trying to protect, but I don't know what it is yet.
And I just have to be clear once again, right? There's a lot of online speculation. There's a lot that we're looking into. We're looking at every report that's come out. To be clear, okay? David Anthony Burke has not been officially implicated in any crime, any wrongdoing. He's not been charged. He's not been named.
He is not. He's not even a person of interest at this point. They're treating it like, we don't know, we just investigating. We just trying to determine how this, young child died. Ready Rock, thank you so much for the $4.99. I appreciate it. BK VYC, thank you for being a member. Shout out to you. And Ready Rock, thank you again. Okay, let's keep going, guys.
The suspect, not a person of interest. Obviously, his connection is through the car and these reports that he had some sort of relationship with Celeste, which I'll dive into a little bit more. But Steve, I was looking into this, right? And unless I'm wrong, if someone just moved Celeste's body, possibly under California law, that may be just a misdemeanor. There's a law that says every person who, having knowledge of an accidental death, actively conceals or attempts to conceal that death shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, punishable by imprisonment in a county jail for not more than 1 year, or by a fine of not less than $1,000, nor more than $10,000, or by both that fine and imprisonment. And for purposes of this section, to actively conceal an accidental death means any of the following: to perform an overt act that conceals the body or directly impedes the ability of authorities or family members to discover the body, to directly destroy or suppress evidence of the actual physical body of the deceased, including...
I love that they're listing the California Penal Code, right? Shout out to my beautiful, wonderful lawyers out there. Franny Law, shout out to you. I haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you're doing well. And shout out to my mod Vicky as well, who is also a wonderful, beautiful, person of the law. Shout out to everybody. It's so weird that they should question him because it's literally his car. How do you not report your car? Was it stolen? I mean, I had a bunch of tickets. They were about to tow it, right? Well, they did tow it, but I don't know. Is it recklessness? Did he leave the car with somebody and then that person had to put the body in the car? There's just so much to this. That's what I have to say.
Not limited to bodily fluids or tissues, to destroy or suppress the actual physical instrumentality of death, right? What caused the death. And I also saw that there was this health and safety code section under California law that says a person who willfully mutilates remains known to be human without authority of law is guilty of a felony. I'm just not sure if we've seen convictions on that for something like this, given this fact pattern. But
we talked about this. If It's because it's very important. It's important how they put out that information. Y'all remember, think about it. When we first talked about this, when we talked about this case, and I told you guys, I said, that's a different kind of crime. It's one thing to conceal a body. It's a different thing to actually dismember and mutilate a body. That's a felony.
But the reason people are talking about this law now is because if we are coming to the conclusion that this really may be it, am I wrong? Is that really what, we might be looking at?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And, I've brought this up for a while now that you can willfully conceal and suppress evidence and destroy evidence to hide it from investigators and family and everybody else. And it's still a misdemeanor. And let's just be real about it. None of these people appear to, in an initial orbit have a record. So they're not going to get up to a year in county jail. They're going to get probation. They're charged. So it's tremendous. Now it shifts to a felony when you mutilate a body. Now, and of course, we've heard these reports since the beginning of her being dismembered. I do not believe that. I believe it was disinterculation, that's a natural process of the connective tissues degrading and the bones, falling apart. I don't have any evidence that she was dismembered. So I don't think.
And Steve Fisher has said this. I think he was one of the first people that has said this. Disarticulation. Y'all remember I had a hard time saying the word. Disarticulation. Shout out to my Luigi Booty Lover. Another OG mod, 33 months. Thank you. Love you, Rabbit and chat. Hey, everybody. Shout out to my wonderful, beautiful mods. Thank you, guys. Like I said, was she dismembered or not? We don't know, but it was put out there. By who? Not the medical examiner's office per se. Why won't they clear that up? They won't say anything. They haven't said anything. It was put out there. I believe it was something that was repeated by maybe law enforcement when they talked to them out there, and then it kind of trickled all over the media.
That's the case.
Okay.
But if it is, then that would go to a felony. That would be a totally different thing. But you suppress this evidence. You can hide her in a trunk from investigators and destroy evidence. And it's a misdemeanor in California.
And to be clear, maybe that's what the additional testing is, to try to see what signs her body shows of being manipulated in some way or mutilated in some way. I hate to talk so cavalier about this, but from a legal point of view, this is the cold, hard facts. This is what investigations look like. Although,
and by the way, Jesse Weber is so much better at talking about maybe the facts than a Nancy Grace when it comes to this. Because y'all heard when Nancy said she's cooking in a car, in the back seat of the car. It's crazy.
I will tell you, if we're saying, okay, how did she die then? And I know that there's been a conversation. Well, let's say for argument's sake, and this is purely speculation, if you're talking about drugs being involved, is the LAPD saying that this is not a drug-related death or that someone wouldn't be responsible for it? Because you would think it is possible. We've seen it before. Someone could be charged with an overdose. Someone could be charged with drug offenses, even in severe cases. If they provide drugs that result in an overdose, you could look at, let's say, involuntary manslaughter. Someone could be brought up on charges of distributing those drugs, providing those drugs, particularly to a minor. If they're not saying that at that point, right? I mean, that could be because there's no evidence of that.
I would agree, though, Flo. Shout out to Flo Joe. I would agree. She does ask the questions that nobody will ask, maybe even the crazy, inappropriate ones. However, I think it's just the way that she asked it that I'm like, do you really have to do all that? Look, shout out to y'all. We can agree to disagree. I sometimes it's a love and hate thing with Nancy Grace. You know what I mean?
Or maybe they're saying, the LAPD, we don't even want to mention drugs. We don't even want to mention drugs at this point. What do you think's going on there?
Yeah, it could be. So, listen, this is a high profile case, and let's look at other high profile cases that's similar as Mac Miller, Matthew Perry. Both times people charged with providing him the drugs they overdosed on.
I'm so glad that he mentioned Matthew Perry, because that was also in that one people didn't really talk about. That was a crazy situation in case. I've talked about it briefly. The ketamine queen, all these people, and how they targeted Matthew Perry and his substance use because he was an addict.
So maybe there is a drug element to this investigation going on that we don't know about. Because when they confirmed, basically, they're standing on that statement a couple days ago. I know that I saw a headline saying, they've confirmed that it's not a murder, not homicide. That's not what they said. They said they're just standing on their previous statement. So it got a little spun out of control, I think. And that's going to happen when this goes on 2 months, right? But maybe there's a drug investigation. Maybe they're trying to figure out how those got to her. And it's going to be a Mac Miller or Matthew Perry type of situation where they are going to go after, whoever provided them.
And without naming names, from your investigation into that house, can you say at this point whether drugs were ever found at that house or connected to that house?
So I can tell you that there was prescription narcotic medication, opiate, painkillers that were found, but they were prescribed. And so we don't know if they were ever used recreationally or not. There was some paraphernalia there, but listen, I mean, marijuana is legal in California and it's something that you can use for that. You can also use it for illicit drugs. We don't know what they're being used.
Yeah. And I agree. And I'm sorry. Madison says, I've had a friend pass away of an overdose. I've had family members and, close family members that have passed away out of, substances, addictions. It's an illness, and shout out to everybody that has ever overcome that. But you're a target when you're in the throes of that, if that makes sense. People will target you, even when you're, doing your best to get, sober. People will target you, and that's what happened to Matthew Perry. People saw him as a target, and it's listed in the criminal docs. And there were doctors. It wasn't just a drug dealer. There were doctors too that were involved in this situation. And you see the name of Matthew Perry, and he's so high. And it's in text messages too, where they're literally talking about how high he is. He's so stupid. They're just taking. And then it was his close personal assistant of 20 years. That's how much. Some of these people, when you have money, you're literally a walking target. I don't envy these Hollywood people because of that. I do not envy any of these Hollywood people, because they have a target on their back.
I've seen some pictures of Celeste where she doesn't look sober. I'll just be honest with you. She looks like she's definitely not sober. And I've talked to people in Lake Elsinore that said when she came back after that time that law enforcement brought her back, that she was quote unquote strung out. And so I don't know, and I hate to say that about minor because I don't have proof of it. I'm just telling you what I've been told. But if that's indeed the case, then hopefully there's a drug element going, investigation going on that we don't know about. They're just being very tight-lipped. But listen, it's been a while now,
No, look, a lot of people care about Celeste. They're worried. Yep. They're thinking about what happened here. They're invested in this case, family, friends, just people who are constantly following it from the beginning. And
because we're not getting the information for we don't see family out there. We don't I'm telling you, if they wanted somebody, I'll do live streams where it's nothing about but bringing, pressure to the LAPD, right? There are people out there that speak the language that would do it. People in the community that would do it. But some people, I don't know, maybe they're just settled and they don't want to shake the table and they're worried about shaking the table when it comes to this. It's just crazy in a situation like that. Abraham, thank you for being a member for 5 months. Shout out to you, Abraham. And thank you, Abraham, for that Cash App. Baby Bunny had a treat. Thank you. I just have a lot of questions, man. And I wonder, I don't know, man. I wouldn't reach out to them because I'm not party to the case. I'm a blogger, but if they needed advocacy, somebody to speak the language, or they needed to, make something happen, I would have no problem doing that. I'd have no problems doing streams speaking on that specifically, calling people out by name. I've done it before, right? But I don't know. I don't see that from them, if that makes sense.
I wanted to ask you what you learned more about Celeste so far in your investigation, because we covered this extensively, that there was, and you mentioned this, there was reporting about her running away from home, footage of her walking away on a street in Lake Elsinore, footage of her potentially fighting with people in her neighborhood, reporting particularly from TMZ that Celeste may have been in some sort of relationship with David, those around them saying that they thought she was 19. What else have you learned about Celeste Rivas Hernandez that we should know?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm 100% convinced personally that there was a relationship going on. I think, you don't have to have a tape of a sex act going on in order to prove that. But it also showed that, listen, she had a lot of freedom at a very young age. Now there's photos of her at a concert in Vegas when she was 13 years old, at a concert that he was playing at. Of course, the other stuff we've already talked about, which is her at that high school graduation and her showing up and arguing with the neighbors. These are all during the time that she's reported as a missing person. Law enforcement should have been notified. At that graduation, I don't believe that she was the only person in her family there. I think that there was several adult family members there, and there was school police.
I agree with that. Several adult family members. Yeah, there was a lot of people in that graduation. I completely agree with what he's saying here.
Officers at that graduation. I don't know why somebody didn't say, hey, by the way, this is a missing person. And, they would go the route they normally go and make sure that she's okay and find out what's going on. But none of that happened. It seemed like she just showed up at a family event and then went back to wherever it was she was staying. And that's concerning because she wasn't in school and there wasn't these controls and that are there for a reason.
Have you tried reaching out to Celeste's family and friends? Have they been responsive at all? I mean, what can you tell us?
I reached out to two of them that I don't speak Spanish myself. So I didn't reach out directly to the mom because I heard that she wants to speak Spanish, but I did reach out to two others and I have not heard back from them. And I'm not going to press it with them because I do have a limited scope in this investigation. I'm not there investigating side by side with with LAPD. I'm there for the homeowner and finding out what happened in or around the house and the cars that were at the house. So I'm not going to press that, but no, I tried and I've not been back. If they're, if they're watching this, I'd love to talk to them.
How is it that the homeowner is more pressed about finding out about what happened to this child more so than the parents? I can't wrap my head around that. And I'm sorry, I just can't.
I'm not, I just want to, learn, what happened.
And by the way, just going back to something you had mentioned, since the first time that we spoke about this, that there was this surveillance footage, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can't identify, but you seem to know who moved that Tesla, right? Who operated that Tesla. When we say there's no arrest here, when we are talking about the fact, yeah, there's been no arrest, no person of interest, no suspect. Again, at this point of time, because it's been some time since you and I first talked about that, are you surprised? No arrest there of that person?
Yeah, I am, because I can understand maybe a month or 6 weeks ago, because if they're saying, hey, listen, they're cooperating with us right now, there's no reason to jam them up and then have their lawyers say, listen, you went ahead and arrested, so now we're not cooperating, we're not talking. But even if they're saying that's still the case, 2 months, if they haven't told you the whole story now in 2 months, then is that cooperating? I don't believe it is. So I think there's initial charges you could start with, and they're just misdemeanor charges. So it's not like the person what's going on with bond.
The body in the car, unless somebody else put her body there, and then that misdemeanor goes to somebody else. I don't know.
In California right now, I mean, the person would probably get on their own recognizance, so.
And I'm not saying that would change the investigation analysis, but sometimes we've seen before in cases where somebody, when they are charged, they sometimes provide more information to law enforcement. Sometimes it can lead to a further search warrant where you can get more information. So when someone is charged even with a lower level offense, that could ultimately lead to something else. But by the way.
Yes, Itzel, you're right. That whole situation, mom reaching out to TMZ, that's all we've ever heard. Nobody else has reached out other than TMZ. So TMZ can't connect mom to, I don't know, people in the community that can help her advocate if that's what she wants. And mom is not an illegal, person. She's rightfully here. She may not speak the language, but there's people out there that can advocate. They can help. That's what I don't understand. And the thing is that why I see this different, especially after that picture with Esmeralda and them at Caesar Palace while David is on tour in the same area.
Hey, by the way, have you spoken to LAPD? Have they given you any indication what's going on?
I've spoken to them a couple times to give them information, but they haven't offered anything back, which I didn't expect anyways. But it's only been to give them information.
Are they concerned about your parallel investigation or not?
We haven't even had that conversation, but if I had to guess, I would say they don't like it for sure. There's never a situation where they particularly like somebody I'm very much information based. I don't believe in this totally tight to the vest type of investigation. I think that pressure really brings people forward and stuff. That's why I think something like an arrest, because if you're a person that gets arrested for moving that vehicle, for participating in a concealment of a body, and you feel like now you're the only one that's been arrested, and you feel like you're taking the hit for this when you only did one part of it, you're probably going to talk. You're going to investigate. Say, okay, this.
I think in part, and this is a great question, Herbs and Potion, we're still wondering why they've been so silent. I think in part because they were accepting of this. And the more and more we kind of uncover, the more and more we see the timeline and pictures and stuff, it's kind of given that. And like I said, coming as a, Latina myself, I dated a much older man when I was Celeste's age. So it's not that it's not unheard of. I mean, it is. It's a thing. And, in some cultures, it's not that it's okay, but it's accepted, right? Depending on how the situation goes. And if she was running a lot, but they were content with her running just to David and not somewhere else, and we don't know. There's that message. There's that message that says, oh, I want to go to the concert and I can't go. And David's like, don't worry. She says, my mom won't let me go. And David's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about your mom. I got you. What does that even mean? Luigi just gifted 10 memberships. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Luigi. Thank you, love. Thank you. Make sure if you guys have been gifted, put some hearts in the chat. Shout out to the people in the vertical and horizontal streams, guys. Person
also did this, and I think it's a way to bring answers out. I don't think that they love that I'm involved, but it's just I am, and that's what it is right now.
Before I let you go, Steve, one final point. Have you spoken to anyone in David's camp? Do you know where he is at this point?
No, I know that early on, it seemed like he was in California because when he transferred that property in Texas, it had the notary seal was a California notary. So it appeared that when he signed those documents, he had come back to California, at least for a while. I have no idea if he's still here or where he is. And I've spoken to some people that are like one step removed from the initial players, but I haven't talked to any of the main people I would like to.
And by the way, your client, the owner of this property, how are they feeling at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, they want answers. I mean, I could see how it would be disturbing to.
I would want answers too. I mean, you got this, you know, for so many reasons. But I would want to know if a little girl died in my property. Like, I would want to know that.
Decide if you want to live in that house right now or not while this is going on. Did somebody lose their life in there or not lose their life in there, especially a 14-year-old at the time? So, you know, they want answers and they want to know what's going on. And especially since he wasn't even the person who signed the lease and this is all, you know, news to him.
It was David's manager, right, who was on the lease. But have they tried to, you know, rent out the property again or sell the property?
You know, I know that they were doing some repairs on it, and I don't know if it's on the realm. I haven't even asked. He's never brought anything up about the financial part of it. It's just been wanting to know more from like a healthy, like spiritual type of thing, like what may or may not have happened there.
Steve Fisher, always appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about what's going on here. Again, a lot of questions, but thank you so much.
Shout out to Steve Fisher, Law and Crime, and Jesse Weber. This case is crazy, and I don't think we'll get the answers to all of this. I don't think so either. And it feels very uncomfortable knowing that and maybe in my mind, I should probably accept this, right? Like, I think we need to start having a narrative where, oh, how do I say this? Because it hurts my heart to even say this out loud. We need to start having the narrative that things will not get solved. I think that's how I'll put it. That's what I'll say. We need to start having the narrative. And I hate to put it that way, but I just don't know. I don't trust the LAPD guys. I don't trust a lot of, like, I don't. And I've seen situations like this way too many times. If I can get in trouble, a DUI, whatever it is, over having an open drink, but having a child's body in a car doesn't get me arrested, I don't know, man. And like I said, if that's my family, you advocate, right? That's what you do. I don't see that from the family. I don't. Even if I don't know the language, let me grab the YouTuber that speaks Spanish, that's bilingual, to get the message out. Or let me get on Univision, or let me get on some other outlet, so I could, like, all kinds of outlets that could happen, right? Money talks, man. That's what I got to say about that. Anyways, I hate to leave you guys like this, because it's like, I know it's like in a kind of like a very low, but it's like, I'm frustrated. I really am. I'm frustrated. This is November 10th. This is the second week of we're literally a couple weeks away from the holidays. I would love to see a conclusion this week. It would have been nice to have a conclusion last month, like in terms of an investigation or what, but we're literally a couple weeks away from the end of the year, and we have nothing. We have nothing. So I don't know what else to say, man. And if there was a actual relationship, I have to be careful how I say that, right, between this child and this man, if there was, listen to my words, because I don't know, other than what's been shown out there, it leads me to believe that there was more to this situation. If there was a relationship of some sorts, why can't people be held accountable for that? Why? Why can't we hold people accountable for that? Because if that was my child, like, I'm sorry, I have teenage children. I do. I have my oldest. In a couple of years, my middle child's going to be a teenager. Why can't we hold people accountable for harboring a minor? For those that knew, why can't we hold people accountable for, any kind of placement or interaction that they might have had with this child, knowing that she was missing? Why is this behavior enabled. I don't get it. And I'm telling you, Celeste won't be the last. She won't be the last, guys. She won't. I really want to thank everybody for being here. Shout out to everybody. We're going to stay on top of this because that's what we do. Yeah. I would agree with this. And even, you know, like I said, kids get really, really ruly. I told you guys, kids get really bad. But let me tell you something, man. Doesn't matter. You don't have to tie your child to a couch or a tree, but you can be on that ass. Oh, yes, you can. You can make it very difficult when they're on the run. Oh, yes, you can. You can make it very difficult when they're not getting their ish together. I've seen it before. It's very possible, even when they're beyond your control, you can make it very difficult for them as well until they get it together. And just by love, just by tough love and staying on that and saying, I'm not giving up on your ass. You're not 18 yet. And even then, I'm still not giving up on you. Just, you can't. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for those that supported tonight. I really do appreciate you guys. My goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to go back a little bit to this one right here. I'll have to check the chat, but Bien Morena asked me if I could make a video talking about the Alexa Nicholas Eat Predators Drake Bell videos. I guess a reaction video. Put a one in the chat. Let me just, before I leave, if I can get at least, I don't know, depending on how many ones, I'll decide. Do you guys want me to review those? Let me know. What do you guys want me to do with that? Let me know. I'm still undecided because I'm like, that's a lot of stuff. That's in terms of like drama that I'm like, I don't know if I really want all of that in my energy area. I'm just saying it's a lot. It's a lot of drama. Okay, I'm seeing some ones. Okay. You have no clue what that means. It's okay. You said Madison's like, no, rabbit. No. Okay. All right. I'll figure out, make the math. Luigi said 1.23. All right. Bye. I'm out of here. I will see you guys on the next one. And yeah, thank you guys for supporting. See you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.